On Christmas Eve morning, while most households were preparing for celebration, a quiet disappearance began unfolding in northwest Bexar County, Texas. 19-year-old Camila Mendoza Olmos stepped outside her home for what should have been a routine moment, a morning walk she often took. She never came back. What followed was a week marked by frantic searching, unanswered questions, and a family clinging to hope as investigators worked through a maze of uncertainty. By the time authorities confirmed what had happened, the case had already left a deep imprint on her community, one shaped by silence, anticipation, and loss. A normal morning that wasn't. Camila was last seen shortly before 7 a.m. on December 24th, captured briefly on a neighbor's surveillance camera. The footage showed her standing near her vehicle, searching through the back as if looking for something specific. Then the motion detection stopped. There was no clear indication of where she went next. Her car remained parked. Her cell phone and iPad were left behind. This detail immediately alarmed both her family and investigators. Camila was known to keep her phone with her, especially while walking. Its absence from her person suggested something was different this time, something deliberate or something distressing. Authorities believe she left the area on foot. Why she did so and where she intended to go remained unknown. Growing fear and a community mobilized. As hours turned into days, concern intensified. The Bexar County Sheriff's Office issued a clear alert, a designation reserved for cases where a missing person is believed to be in imminent danger. This classification reflected the seriousness with which authorities viewed Camila's disappearance. Sheriff Javier Salazar stated early on that all possibilities were being considered, from voluntary disappearance to foul play to self-harm. The department coordinated with the FBI, widening the scope of the investigation. Meanwhile, Camila's family spoke publicly, their words raw with fear but threaded with hope. Her father, Alfonso Mendoza, told reporters he was praying constantly for her return. "I miss her," he said. "I might sound strong, but it hurts." Her mother, Rosario Olmos, spoke in Spanish, describing the unbearable limbo of not knowing. "At times we are broken," she said, "but we are staying strong because my daughter is missing and we don't know where she is." Friends and volunteers joined the search, combing neighborhoods, fields, and wooded areas day and night. They scraped their legs on the brush, skipped meals, and refused to stop looking. The effort became collective. Maps were shared, drones deployed, and residents urged to review any available footage that might offer a clue. The dashcam video and lingering uncertainty. Several days into the search, authorities released dashcam footage provided by a driver heading to work the morning Camila disappeared. The video showed a woman walking alone along Wild Horse Parkway, northbound from Camila's neighborhood. The clothing appeared to match what Camila had been wearing. Still, Sheriff Salazar was careful not to confirm the identification. "I can't say for certain it was her," he said, "but the clothing certainly does match up." The video deepened the mystery rather than resolving it. If it was Camila, where was she going? Why was she walking without her phone? And how had she seemingly vanished so close to home? Authorities also noted a troubling development. A firearm belonging to a relative had been reported missing. Investigators did not immediately know whether this detail was connected to Camila's disappearance, but it remained part of the active inquiry. Searching without a digital trail. One of the most challenging aspects of the case was the absence of a digital footprint. With no cell phone, investigators could not track Camila's movements, access location data, or analyze communications that might have offered insight into her final hours. Instead, they were forced to rely on physical searches, eyewitness accounts, and painstaking manual verification. Authorities expanded their efforts to include flight records, border crossings, and out-of-state travel possibilities, chasing every scenario that could explain where she had gone. Even authorities in Nuevo León, Mexico, where Camila had family ties, circulated missing person flyers. The scope of concern extended well beyond Texas, underscoring how seriously investigators treated the possibility that she may have traveled farther than expected. Yet those closest to Camila struggled to reconcile the idea that she might have left voluntarily. Her mother said plainly, "Cammie's not like that." Cammie is very careful. The contradictions were difficult to ignore. Car keys without a car, movement without communication, intent without explanation. Without digital signals to follow, investigators were left tracing absence rather than activity, trying to reconstruct meaning from what wasn't there. Every unconfirmed sighting and unanswered questions stretched the uncertainty further, turning silence itself into one of the most unsettling elements of the case. A return to ground already covered. The breakthrough came not from new evidence, but from persistence. On Tuesday afternoon, nearly a week after Camila vanished, sheriff's deputies and FBI agents returned to an open field near her home, an area that had already been searched once before. The terrain was difficult: tall grass, dense brush, and limited visibility that had complicated earlier efforts. This time, just minutes into the renewed search, they found a body. It was located roughly 100 yards from Camila's home, on property belonging to a local landscaping materials company. The proximity was devastating. She had been close all along, concealed by the landscape itself. By the following day, the medical examiner confirmed the identity: Camila Mendoza Olmos. The official findings. Authorities announced that Camila died by suicide from a gunshot wound to the head. A firearm was found near her body. Investigators noted that a relative's gun had been reported missing and were working to determine whether it matched the weapon recovered at the scene. Sheriff Salazar stated there were no signs of foul play. He also acknowledged that Camila had been going through a very tough time and that investigators had learned of indicators of suicidal ideation and undiagnosed depression. "This is certainly not the outcome we were hoping for," Salazar said. "It's heartbreaking." The field where her body was found had been searched before, but the height of the grass and brush had obscured visibility. The decision to return, prompted by a belief that something may have been missed, ultimately brought the case to its tragic conclusion: a family's grief and a community's silence. As confirmation spread, the family asked for privacy and compassion. A cousin posted online requesting continued prayers and respect for their pain. The shift from hope to grief was abrupt. For days, the family had imagined reunion scenarios: finding Camila walking, calling out her name, bringing her home. Her mother had said she expected to find her, like other times, returning together. Instead, they were left with finality. Friends who had searched relentlessly now faced the weight of loss. The community that had mobilized so quickly was forced into quiet reflection, grappling with how someone so young could disappear in plain sight, so close to home. Beyond the headlines, the Camila Mendoza Olmos case underscores a reality that often goes unseen: the private battles many young people face, even when surrounded by family and care. It also highlights how suicide does not always announce itself with obvious warning signs to others. Investigators emphasize that Camila was loved, supported, and valued. Yet support does not always prevent suffering, and presence does not always eliminate pain. Her story is not one of spectacle or scandal, but of unanswered internal struggle. A reminder that mental health crises can unfold quietly, without drama, until they suddenly become impossible to ignore. Remembering Camila. Camila Mendoza Olmos was more than a missing person bulletin or a tragic headline. She was a daughter whose parents prayed endlessly for her return, a friend whose peers searched through exhaustion, and a young woman whose life carried promise and meaning. Her case leaves behind difficult questions, but also an urgent reminder: conversations about mental health matter, vigilance matters, and compassion, before and after tragedy, matters deeply. If you or someone you know is struggling with thoughts of suicide or emotional distress, help is available. In the United States, confidential support is accessible 24/7 by calling or texting 988, the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Camila's story ended in silence, but it should not be forgotten.